Did you know that Tomb Raider 4 had a free downloadable bonus level made to help promote it? Okay, but did you know it also had a limited physical release? This is a rare physical copy of Tomb Raider 4's The Times exclusive playable level. But what's the story here? Where did it come from? Just how rare is it? And more importantly, is it any good? Well, sit back and relax, because in today's video, we'll be taking a look at this strange promotional level. Hello everyone, I'm Evil, and today I'd like to invite you to join me as we take a look at Tomb Raider 4, The Times exclusive playable level. I hope you enjoy. Tomb Raider's massive success would inevitably give way to many licensing and cross-promotional opportunities for publisher Eidos to capitalize on. And the Times newspaper were one such entity that wanted a slice of that lucrative Lara Croft pie. But how exactly were they going to appeal to the Tomb Raider? Well, it just so happened to be the anniversary of when Howard Carter discovered Tutankhamun's tomb, which was originally covered exclusively by the Times newspaper back in the early 1920s. And this discovery loosely ties into the story of the level. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of the Times newspaper articles covering the promotion. Starting in November of 1999 and running up into the new year, the Times would run a segment called A Girl Called Lara. It would include a plethora of information about our favourite Tomb Raider, including interviews with core design staff, retrospectives, competitions, and much more. But in my opinion, the most interesting thing shared here are the details about the level itself. Here, it's revealed that the codename for the project was Larazade, which stands for Lara's joining the Times. They also state that they'll be including several historical front pages of the Times, but I couldn't find any on the disc. Anyway, another major aspect of the collaboration was an exclusive 7-part short story written by the Times' own Erica Wagner, titled Down Among the Dead. I must admit that I only read the story for the first time while making this video, but I found it to be more fun than I was expecting. While it's nothing groundbreaking, I would recommend it to people that enjoyed the level but maybe didn't know it existed. But how does it relate to the game? Well, the story starts with Lara at the Times headquarters, where she finds a handwritten book by Howard Carter that suggests King Tut's widow may be buried nearby in a yet-to-be-discovered tomb, where there's said to be a jewel that grants the owner eternal life. The story featured in the level has a similar premise, but it does have its differences. Lara once again begins her adventure at the Times headquarters, being advised about new tunnels found near Tutankhamun's tomb. But the MacGuffin in Down Among the Dead is the widow's jewel, whereas in the Times exclusive level, Lara is searching for a relic called the Gold Mask. I wonder, if they had more time to work on the level, would it have more closely matched that of Down Among the Dead? And I suppose the story could even be considered semi-official, as core design were involved with the promotion. They even made these great renders of Lara exclusively to accompany the story. This render is the one used for the front cover of the game, but I don't recall seeing any of the other ones anywhere else. They're really cool in my opinion. If you're interested in reading this short story, or if you want to see these renders in high quality, then please check the video's description. The Times exclusive is basically common knowledge among classic Tomb Raider fans, but I don't think there are too many people aware that it once also came on a disc. Shortly after I bought this, I decided to look it up online, and while there was quite a bit of information on the level itself, there was no mention about a physical copy anywhere. So I took to a popular Tomb Raider fan site and shared some photos. I started seeing my pictures used on many sites, and I still see them around even today, but if I was the only one posting pictures of it, I figured it must be quite rare. But exactly how rare is it? Well, unfortunately, back then, most of the A Girl Called Lara segments were considered lost media. So, for the longest time, nobody knew how many copies were made. Thankfully, all that has changed. As of 2023, every issue has been found, and we now have access to the entire series. In the issue dated 18th of December, the Times finally revealed how readers could get their hands on a copy of the game. There were two ways. Of course, everybody was free to download the game, or alternatively, there was an opportunity to get your hands on an exclusive limited print CD-ROM. It's here where they reveal that only 5,000 copies were being produced, and they were made available on a first-come, first-served basis. To get your hands on it, you'd need to call the Lara hotline and hope you were fast enough to get through. But of course, most people didn't even realize there was a physical edition. And why would they? It was free to download after all. Well, providing you could afford the phone line. I love their download advice here. Man, I miss the 90s. Anyway, I can only imagine that all the physical copies were snapped up very quickly by lucky callers. It's basically just a CD in a cardboard slipcase, but it's still pretty cool, right? But that's enough about this. Let's jump in and find out if the level itself is any good. The level starts off with an opening cutscene where Lara meets with the Times editor-in-chief, who explains that new tunnels have been found near Tutankhamun's tomb, and it's up to Lara to go and explore. I love how he has toy soldiers on his desk. And is this a picture of the Crankies? Yikes. Also, I could be wrong, but is this the only time someone calls her the Tomb Raider in-game?
His original chamber layouts and notes lie in the relevant issues in our archive room, invaluable to the Tomb Raider.
The cutscene ends with Lara making her way into the Times archive to look at Howard Carter's original notes before setting off on her adventure. This bit always bugged me. Listen.
Time to finish what Carter started.
For some reason, the cutscene cuts Lara off before she's even finished her sentence. How rude. We begin the playable section by sliding down into the tomb, and are then basically left to figure it out for ourselves. But the level is pretty straightforward, and you're unlikely to get lost. Basically, just keep moving forward. Lara's arsenal includes her pistols, shotgun, revolver, and crossbow. We also have Uzi ammo, but I'm pretty sure there's no Uzis to be found. In regards to enemies, we have the ever-annoying scarab beetles, which are unkillable and will follow you around doing constant damage. Thankfully, they're easily dealt with by herding them over these grates. Speaking of invincible enemies, we also have these spooky mummies, but they're really nothing to worry about. They show up in this small corridor and are a threat for all of 2 seconds until you jump down this ledge that they can't get down. They do show up later on too, but again, you can just run past them. Honestly, I think these types of invincible enemies just sort of ruin the vibe. Everything should go down with enough shots. But we also have red scorpions, jackals, and crocodiles. To me, the most interesting thing about this level is that, likely as a time-saving technique, it's partially made using touched-up sections of the flyby demos that play in the background on the title screen. For example, this section from the flyby was turned into the room where you find the gold mask. And this section was clearly adapted from this. There are only 2 secrets, and they're not particularly difficult to find. The first one is found right at the start by climbing up here. And the second one is found by breaking these 2 lion heads, then climbing behind the statue. Towards the end of the level, we finally find what we've been looking for, the sacred gold mask, and you can just leave it there and finish the level without it. Okay then. By Tomb Raider standards, the level is pretty short. It took me about 15 minutes to get through, though I have played it before, so it may take newcomers a bit longer. Before we move on though, I wondered, would the cheats work? And to my surprise, yes, they did. So we can add the Uzis and grenade launcher to our inventory. Nice. Time to take care of those mummies. Included in the download are 2 additional mini-games, a basic jigsaw puzzle, and a clicker. These aren't particularly exciting, but I thought they'd be fun to show briefly. By pressing Next Puzzle at the top left, Lara will say,
"Okay,"
and it will cycle through a few different pictures. By clicking Start Puzzle, Lara will say,
"I'm ready."
and shuffle the pieces. If you get stuck, there's an instant win button where Lara shouts,
"Damn!"
One thing I find interesting about this is that while these were intended to promote Tomb Raider 4, Judith Gibbons, who was Lara's voice for Tomb Raider 2 and 3, is used. I assume these minigames may have appeared on their website at some point, and were quickly updated with Tomb Raider 4 graphics, and thrown on here as a fun little bonus. The Times exclusive is an interesting piece of Tomb Raider's history. Yes, it's short, and yes, if I were to judge the level, I would say it's fairly unremarkable, but it's a pretty cool collector's item at the very least, and definitely worth a playthrough if you're a fan of the classics. I especially liked being able to explore some of Tomb Raider 4's flyby sequence. Of course, I would much rather have had a true expansion for Tomb Raider 4, like we had with the original trilogy, but at least we got something. Though, I would like to know, have you ever played this level? Did you know it had a physical release? Do you, or anyone you know, own one of these? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Damn!